introduce you to Ace. Ace, let's get money. Cashflow.
Hey, what's going on? This is Andika, Ace Cash Powell, the certified public accountant, and this is episode 8 of Cashflow. All right, this week we got a special guest, Stuckey. He is running for state rep in District 9 for the state of Michigan, but District 9 is in the city of Detroit. I encourage everybody to get out and vote. Matter of fact, that's the name of the episode today, is to get out and vote. It really doesn't matter what district you in, who you are picking. You got the power to vote, and you need to go out and exercise that right. I mean, if you want to see change in your neighborhood, you want to see change in your community, you got to take advantage of it. And that's how we move with the government. That's how we make sure that we got the right people representing us. All right. So that is part of my cash tip, is make sure that you're paying your taxes. Make sure that you're getting with a tax professional and you're handling your taxes. If you are a small business owner, you may have sales tax, payroll tax. There's all different ways that you can take care of that. A lot of government entities allow you to pay online now. I know that even for corporations, you have to pay your federal tax online. The state of Michigan gives you the ability, and a lot of the local cities, including Detroit, Pontiac, that tax income as well give you that chance. So make sure that you are taking care of your business, and make sure that you are going to vote. The election is on August 7th this year, 2018, the primaries. So make sure you get out there. And I'll be right back with Stuckey.
Hey, welcome to Thinkers Co-working Spaces, located on Jefferson and Chalmers. Hey, give us a call at 313-728-5662 or 313-850-3703. We have all the space that you need. Weddings, baby showers, meetings, you name it, we got it. We aim to please. Or look us up at thinkerscoworkingspaces.com or at thinkthinkers.com. Thinkers, baby.
All right, welcome back. All right, I got my special guest, Stuckey, here. He's gonna kind of go into what got him into politics, go over his background, and express to you guys why it's so important to make sure that you vote in this upcoming election on August 7th. So, Donald, can you kind of give us a little bit about your background?
Well, thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it. What got me into politics was when I was younger, my parents, they were concerned about my education. They were concerned that I wasn't doing as well as my brothers and my sisters. And so after they got me tested and they fought with DPS, they got me services that I needed. And I was able to graduate from college and able to get my master's degree. And the things that my parents taught me and that I saw them do, that actually helped me to become an advocate for people. And so that's what really got me involved initially in politics. And so going through school, being involved in AmeriCorps and City of Detroit and mediation, I saw all of these folks that were just being taken advantage of and not having the ability to be able to start their own business or having the basic tools to find and keep a job. And I just saw them being, really run over. And so I had to, I felt like I needed to do something. And so I got more involved in politics. And then after the 2016 election, I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and toss my hat in the ring because, you know what? I think I can do a better job than these other folks that are running. And so that's what really got me involved in this particular race.
All right, man, that's excellent. You talked about, there was some issues with schooling, but you was able to get your bachelor's and master's degree. So what did you study? Where did you go and what did you study?
I graduated from Mumford High School. Go Mustangs. So I went to Eastern Michigan. I got my bachelor's degree in political science. And then I went to Wayne State University and got my master's in dispute resolution.
Okay, great. So how do you see that educational background helping you moving forward?
Well, the political science degree, that just introduces you to everything that's about politics, whether it's state, local, or federal. So it just really helps you to understand how to think politically and all that kind of stuff. The dispute resolution is a more specific skill. The dispute resolution program is the only one of its kind in the state of Michigan, especially for a master's program. Now, a lot of law schools have a similar type program, but Wayne State is the only one that has that program as a master's program in the state of Michigan. And so that program actually teaches you how to bring people together, teaches you how to mediate and bring folks together who don't agree, and be able to try and find a solution without violence or without going to court or all those other things. And actually, I've been a mediator with the Wayne Mediation Center over on my side of town, and in that role, I actually helped keep people out of court. And so people came to I would mediate disputes, whether they were landlord-tenants or whether they were cases that are involving estates and all those kind of things. And so I have that experience that I believe can help me to get solutions passed in Lansing and really get our legislature moving, doing things that will actually benefit people and not be such a hindrance as it's been over the last several years.
I think that's great. I think that entrepreneurs focus so much on their career, they focus so much on their product and their service, but you kind of talk about what I would call negotiating. Like when you are trying to settle disputes, what is some key factors that you're looking to do, or what are you trying to get from the people so that you can help them reach a
Well,
resolution?
the first thing is you want the deception going. You want the truth to come out. And what a mediation process actually does is it gives the opportunity to really pull the sheets off what's going on, to really find out what's really going on, what's motivating people to take the behaviors that they're doing. That's what mediation really does. And because I've been trained and I've done this so many times, I can begin to recognize where there are areas that we can start to agree on. And a lot of times, after a few hours, I can start to see there are several areas that we can agree on. And I can try to get both of the parties to come together and really say, you know what, you agree on A, B, C, and D. You might not agree on E and F, but you agree on these four things. And before you came in here, you agreed on nothing. So, and that's sort of how I would do that.
Okay, I think it's important for entrepreneurs and small business owners to understand that you're dealing with people. Even when you're dealing with customers and employees, you're going to have that back and forth, and it should be a win-win for everybody. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get everything that you want,
right,
but there are compromises that can be made for you to have success. As far as the climate and economics in Detroit, why do you think that small businesses and employees should be, positive and about the situation here, and what do you think are the things that need to happen for it to grow?
So, to respond to your question, I think there's a lot of good things that are going on in Detroit. We have more investment in the city. We have, obviously, Midtown and downtown are coming back. There's new developments that are coming up. Even over in University District, around the University of Detroit Mercy area, they're really expanding down there. There's places on the east side. There's all kind of great things that are going on in Detroit. The issue is that we want for everybody in Detroit to be able to take advantage of those opportunities. And that's including a lot of small businesses and a lot of small employers. I think everybody should have an opportunity. Now, just being truthful, Mr. Gilbert, Mr. Gores, a lot of the more well-off people, they've done great downtown. And we want them. We welcome them to Detroit. But there's folks who have been here for years, who've been here for 20, 30 years. There are folks who've grown up, who've gone to the high schools. They've been here. They've been committed to this city. They love this city. They don't want to go anywhere else. They want to stay right here in Detroit. And they should have an opportunity to benefit from the comeback of Detroit. Like any new Detroiter, any new person, lifelong Detroiters should also have that same opportunity. And so that's one of the things I'm really advocating for. And that means is that we have a tax system that's fair. And that means that the benefits that are being enjoyed by Mr. Gilbert, things like that, The fact is that I don't believe that Mr. Gilbert and Mr. Gore need all of those tax dollars. I think that we need to put those in the small businesses, and we need to give people the starting capital that they need to start their own business. We're not investing in our small businesses, and that's one of the problems that I have. And then the tax code itself is really rigged against the average person, the person that doesn't make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Probably a lot of your listeners are paying a fair amount of taxes. Most of us, we pay sales tax, we pay local taxes, we pay income taxes, we pay Medicare taxes, we pay all these different kinds of taxes, and we understand that they go and they benefit our society. But Mr. Gores and Mr. Gilbert, they have 20 different ways that they can actually not have to pay those taxes. They have accountants and things like that. And the fact is that they're getting away without paying their taxes and they're not keeping their commitment to Detroit. And so I think that we should stop giving those individuals all of these benefits and all of these tax cuts, and we should be investing in our small businesses right here in Detroit. And that's one of the things that I'm really committed to if I get elected.
That's awesome. And so I think it's important for business owners and people who are looking for work to go out and vote. What would be, kind of discuss what a state rep does. You can hit 3 key points of what a state rep does and why it's important to make sure you go out and vote.
Well, as I tell people, when you think about your state legislature, I want you to think about your member of Congress, the one that serves in Washington, or your U.S. senator. It's just like that, but at the state level. The state legislature is our elected body for the state of Michigan. They write all of our laws. They pass the budgets. They appropriate money to fix the roads. They tell us how the schools are able to operate. They really govern our state. Like they write the laws for our state, like the Congress writes the laws for the United States. And so in that case, that's why state legislators are important, because we're a part of making the laws for the state of Michigan.
Awesome. So I know that you're running for state rep, District 9. After, the election, what are your plans as far as over the next 12 months, 5 years, and even 20 years from now?
So to answer your question, in the next year, obviously the first thing is we got to get elected. So, vote Stuckey.com. The first thing that we would do in that time, I would assume to get elected and be sworn in as the next state rep for District 9. So what we would be doing is I would be introducing legislation to roll back some of the tax cuts that were made to big businesses in when Governor Snyder walked in, and that's what those dollars went to give big tax breaks to big companies and things of that nature. And instead, I would use those dollars. We would put them into our public schools. We would make sure that small businesses and that people who are small businesses make sure that they have capital to get started that are low interest. I believe we should have low interest loans for people who want to start a business, and make sure that we're doing right by our people. And I think that's really important. In 5 years, I would want to assume some sort of leadership role to be part of the leadership in the House to help make the decisions about what legislation we see. I think that we need better representation at the leadership level as well. And we need Detroit representation, whichever party is in control of the legislature at that time. Which, again, if it were to be a black representative or a representative from Detroit, it would likely be someone who is, it would probably need to be a Democratic majority in order to do that. So it would be a leadership role I want to get into. And then in 20 years, I would assume I would be interested in running for some higher office. Right. I'm not going to speculate as to what that's going to be right now, but some higher position I would probably be very interested in running at that point.
All right, man, that's great. And so, first I want to thank you for coming in today. This leads me right into my next segment, which is Secure the Bag. Usually I talk about ways for you to make sure that you're closing deals, make sure that you're taking care of your business and you're protecting your company or protecting your assets. But today I want to talk about how important voting is. I think that is if you live in America, it's part of the landscape for business. And so many businesses have lobbyists. They have people that are in Washington, in the state, and they're fighting for their interests. And even if you're small, even if you're a small business, you have an interest, and you need to, make sure that you're taking that right to vote seriously and making sure that, you are taking advantage of that. I think personally that not voting is something that is kind of selfish, especially as an entrepreneur, because you got to be thinking about the interests of not just yourself, but your employees, your clients, and your family. And so just like you get up every day and make sure you get into work, you need to just take some time off on that day and make sure that you go down, especially for your district, and protect your assets from that standpoint.
And voting is just one part of it. You need to ask the candidates, whether you're Democrat or Republican, you need to ask them questions.
Yes.
We have a lot of voters that vote based off of name recognition.
Oh yeah.
And that's not a really, you wouldn't go purchase a new product or a computer or a service or use someone's professional service without asking them some questions, And so we should ask our candidates because, voting, these individuals, they're going to vote on tax policy. They're going to vote on regulation. These are all things that are going to affect your small business. And so those are the kind of questions that you want to ask them. And if you ask them a question and they aren't able to give you an answer, that should send up a red flag. Because all of those lobbyists that are in Lansing, they're going to be knocking on their door,
right,
telling them how they should vote. And you want somebody that's going to be independent, that's going to be only concerned about the needs that are in your district when they're up there, and not about what the lobbyists and the special interest in Lansing want, but what is a concern in your district and what's a concern to you as a voter. And that's, I think that's really important. So vote, but being an informed voter, I think is more important.
I must agree. So make sure you go and vote, and we'll be right back.
Wazoo Mobile Technologies, connecting businesses and customers at a fraction of the price. Wherever you may go, quickly and easily find and compare deals and businesses with Wazoo. Now with over 20,000 downloads. Set preferences and see the best deals, or see all the new hair and fashion styles on Style Swiper. Browse for new hair and fashion styles, get directions to nearby salons who offer unique styles. Wazoo and Style Swiper from Wazoo Mobile Technologies. Available on the App Store and Google Play.
All right, welcome back. We're having a great discussion with, the candidate for District 9 State Rep, Donald Stuckey. We've been talking about the importance of voting, what it means, from an economic standpoint, and also just, making sure that you do your research and find out about your candidates that's running in your district. And so going into this, we at the point where we do celebrity or sellout. And so this week we're going to talk about Mike Duggan. Now, what I know about Mike Duggan is, number one, he's the mayor of Detroit. Has won one or two elections.
He's won 2 elections. He was reelected last year. Before that, he had a leadership role with the DMC, Detroit Medical Center. He did a good job turning that around, and so people thought that he would be a good mayor. We know that he has some, connections with Dan Gilbert and other billionaires in the city. Donald, what's your feelings on the job that Mike has done so far? When Duggan was first elected, I, like many people, were extremely concerned about the bankruptcy and things like that, and we needed to show the state that we had competent leadership, so that we could get the emergency manager would stay gone once he left. And so we elected a new council. We elected Mike Duggan, and when he came in, he was able to get some things straightened up, and obviously we're out of the situation now where we need an emergency manager, and even the financial review commission that's now over. So in that respect, he did a good job, and there were some good management things and deals that he came in. The issue is more of some of the more substantive policy issues and some of the choices that the mayor and the city council have made over the last few years that have me concerned, and they're really not benefiting the people here in the city of Detroit as well as they could. Now, one of those things is there was a issue where the schools, where there was a pot of money that was approved like 10 years ago that helped to fund our schools. And some of that money was taken and redirected to help build some of the entertainment areas downtown. And, my thought is Detroit Public Schools already does not have a lot of money to use. Right. And so now you're directing dollars to build an entertainment facility instead of using those dollars to go back into the schools. And so that a lot of people were rightly upset about that. The other issues are the jobs. One of the things that the mayor and many other of the billionaires and things like that promised, they said that they would bring more jobs to Detroit. And so their definition of a job is much different from mine. Now, when you have the Tigers and Lions and Red Wings play, they play for a season. And so if you're working at one of those places as a janitor or as an usher or something like that, that does in fact create a job. The problem is that it's not a job where on January 1st you get up, you have a job, and then you go to bed on December 31st and know that you still have a job. Yeah. Now, to me, that's a long-lasting job. That's a job that every 2 weeks you're getting a paycheck. And what you're making is enough for you to be able to take care of yourself and your family. And that's the basic things: food, shelter, being able to pay your bills, and send your children to school. And on a lot of those jobs, you're just simply not able to do those things with the very low pay that you receive. But these individuals, they get lots of money in tax credits. And so we're really not seeing the benefit, at least not from what I would assume should be a benefit. And so those are some of the things that really have me concerned about the mayor, about these decisions that the mayor has allowed to happen. The other issue is the gentrification issue. A lot of the rents and things like that are going up downtown, and people are being forced out of their apartments. They're being forced out of an area that they've lived in for 30, 40 years. And so that's something else that has me concerned. I don't think that if you've lived in an area for 30, 40 something years, that you should be forced out. Now, the mayor, he promised us, he said that he says that the new developments that we would have 20% for low income people. The problem is that threshold is very low. You have to make $24,000. If you go a dollar above $24,000, then you're getting kicked out, or you don't qualify for that living unit. And so those are the kind of things that have me concerned about whether the mayor is looking out for the best interests of the citizens of Detroit.
I think that you hit some good points. I think the citizens of the city should be concerned with any decisions that politicians make that may seem to go against the interests of the people. And so it's not a Democratic Republican thing. It's about benefiting the most people possible. And that's why it's so important to get out and vote, because if there's 800,000 people in Detroit, but only 100,000 are voting, you're not going to get a good representation of the people. Mm-hmm. No matter what election it is, whether it's rep, mayor, president, it doesn't matter. If you're not voting, you're not going to be properly represented. Right. And
we typically only see about 20% turnout in years where the mayor and the city council are on the ballot, and that's not a very good representation of the voters. There's about 40% of, I would say about 30 to 40% of the citizens of Detroit are of the population of the city of Detroit are actually registered voters, and that just accounts for kids and people who have passed on. but you know that number of people who are voting is not. It doesn't really give you a very good understanding of where the direction of the city is, because only a very small population is actually voting, and so that's where we want to. Where our campaign, we're working to try and get people informed, and we're trying to talk to folks, get them registered to vote, encouraging them to vote. So
yeah, that's great. And so that leads me. So before we go, I just want to stress that to get up, go out and vote. Like Donald said, start holding these politicians accountable. Make phone calls, emails, go to town hall meetings, talk to these people. When they come knock on your door, talk to those candidates that are willing to come to your door and see what their interests are, and do they line up with what you think is important, and will it help your neighborhood, your community grow. I want to thank Donald for coming out. Can you tell the people again how they can get in contact with you and get more information about you?
There's two ways. You can go to my website at votestuckey.com, Stuckey, or you can email me at votestuckey, Stuckey, at yahoo.com. That's two ways to get in contact with me.
All right, man. I'm going to wish you luck in the campaign. If you want to volunteer or you just want some more information, make sure you get in contact with Donald. And I want to thank you guys for checking us out this week. I'll see you guys next Tuesday.
I introduce you to Ace. Ace, let's get money. Cashflow.